Welcome to Root Research, where we decode science in plain language and stay close to where knowledge really begins. Today, we're diving into a discovery that quietly reshaped the modern world before most people even noticed it. An observation made by Alexander Fleming, together with collaborators in his laboratory, that revealed how a simple mold could stop deadly bacteria in their tracks. Let's start. Why should you care about a mold that grew by accident? Imagine a world where a small cut on your finger can kill you. Not because it's dramatic, not because you ignored it, but because there is simply nothing to stop the infection once bacteria take over. That was the normal world not that long ago. Childbirth was dangerous. Pneumonia was often a death sentence. A sore throat could quietly turn into something fatal. And the reason wasn't lack of doctors or effort, it was lack of tools. What Fleming noticed almost casually was the beginning of the tool that changed all of that. What happens when curiosity meets a messy laboratory? Fleming wasn't chasing a miracle. He was working with Staphylococcus, bacteria known for causing pus, wounds, and infections. And like many researchers, he left some culture plates sitting out. Air got in, mold spores landed. The plates became contaminated. Most people would throw those plates away. Fleming didn't. He noticed something strange. Around one fuzzy green mold colony, the bacteria didn't just stop growing, and they were dissolving. The bacterial colonies near the mold turned transparent, like ice melting around a warm stone. That detail mattered. This wasn't competition for space. This wasn't bacteria getting tired. Something was actively killing them. What kind of mold is that to bacteria? Fleming carefully grew the mold again and again. He described it as white and fluffy at first, turning green, then darker over time. It released a yellow substance into the surrounding liquid. The mold grew best at cool room temperatures, not body temperature, and refused to grow without oxygen. Based on its shape and behavior, Fleming identified it as a type of Penicillium, a mold commonly floating in laboratory air but rarely interesting. Except this one was different. Only one strain, out of many molds tested, produced this powerful antibacterial effect. That alone was a warning sign that something special was happening. When a liquid becomes a weapon against bacteria, Fleming didn't grind the mold into medicine. He didn't inject it into animals right away. He did something simpler. He grew the mold in broth, removed the mold itself, and tested the leftover liquid. That liquid, later named Penicillin, was deadly to certain bacteria. When placed near bacterial cultures, it spread outward and created invisible, no-growth zones. Bacteria simply could not cross into that space. And the effect wasn't gentle. Cells broke apart, walls dissolved. Bacteria didn't adapt, they collapsed. Why didn't this kill all bacteria equally? This is one of the most important insights Fleming documented. Penicillin wasn't a universal poison. Some bacteria were extremely sensitive. Staphylococcus, streptococcus, pneumococcus, diphtheria-related bacteria. Others barely noticed it. Intestinal bacteria like E. coli, typhoid-related bacteria, cholera bacteria, influenza-related bacteria. This selectivity mattered. It meant penicillin could target dangerous bacteria without wiping out everything else, including helpful microbes or human cells. That idea sounds obvious now. At the time, it was revolutionary. What does slow killing actually mean in real life? Fleming noticed something counterintuitive. Penicillin didn't kill bacteria instantly. In the first few hours, bacteria sometimes continued growing. Then, quietly hours later, they began to disappear. After a full day, cultures that looked alive before became completely clear. This taught an important lesson. Penicillin doesn't smash bacteria like a hammer. It weakens them until they can no longer survive. This slow, steady action turned out to be incredibly important later when treating infections safely. Is it safe, or does it kill everything it touches? Here's another surprise. Fleming tested penicillin on animals, rabbits and mice, in amounts far larger than what was needed to kill bacteria. Nothing happened. No toxic reactions, no irritation, no damage to white blood cells. Even when applied directly to human tissues, including eyes, it caused no harm. That combination, powerful against bacteria, gentle to humans, is extremely rare. Why did this matter for real doctors, not just labs? One of the most practical uses Fleming described wasn't treatment at first, and it was finding the right bacteria. In real patients, infections are messy. Multiple microbes grow together. Dangerous ones hide behind fast-growing harmless ones. Penicillin allowed doctors to silence the loud bacteria so the quiet, important ones could finally be seen. This was especially true for bacteria linked to respiratory illness, where penicillin-sensitive microbes overwhelmed others unless controlled. Suddenly, diagnosis became clearer. A real-world scenario you can picture. Imagine a young nurse with a fever and cough. Her throat swab grows everything at once: Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, harmless bacteria, noise everywhere. Without penicillin, the true cause is lost in the crowd. With penicillin added to the culture plate, the aggressive bacteria stop growing. What remains becomes visible. That clarity can change treatment decisions and outcomes. This wasn't theory. Fleming demonstrated it repeatedly. Why didn't the mold poison itself? Another fascinating observation. Penicillin did not harm the mold that made it. Nature had already solved the problem of self-destruction. That hinted at a deeper biological logic. A targeted weapon, not a random toxin. Why this discovery didn't explode overnight? Here's the human part. Fleming didn't have the tools to purify penicillin. He couldn't stabilize it for long-term storage. He didn't mass-produce it, but he documented everything. He left a trail of evidence detailed enough that others could pick it up years later, which they did. Science moves forward not only by breakthroughs, but by careful notes left behind. What did Fleming actually prove beyond doubt? He showed that a natural substance from mold can kill dangerous bacteria. The effect is selective, not random. It works at extremely low concentrations. It is safe for animal and human tissues. It can be used both for treatment and diagnosis. These weren't guesses. They were measured, repeated, tested observations. Why this still matters today. Every modern antibiotic traces its philosophy back to this moment. Target the pathogen, spare the host. Use precision, not brute force. The problems we face today, resistance, overuse, misuse, only exist because antibiotics worked so well in the first place. Understanding how penicillin began helps us remember that antibiotics are not magic. They are fragile tools. The quiet revolution in a Petri dish. No headlines, no announcements. Just a mold, a bench, and a curious mind. That's how modern medicine shifted. And it reminds us that the future of medicine may already be growing somewhere unnoticed, waiting for someone to look twice. The main outcome, in simple words, Fleming showed that nature had already invented a weapon against deadly bacteria. One that humans could learn from, refine, and use responsibly. That single insight laid the groundwork for saving hundreds of millions of lives. And it all started with not throwing something away. Thank you to Alexander Fleming and the scientists who followed his curiosity instead of ignoring it. If you like what we do at Root Research, subscribe, share this story, and leave a comment with a topic you want us to decode next.